You're going to see why I'm laughing. My husband is a comic. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tea and Coffee with Paula and
Jay. I got my hard hat on. She didn't know. I slipped it on during the intro, and she's starting to lose it. Got my hard hat on because, I bumped my head.
You bumped your head. Not again, Least. At least not again. You're still suffering from the original injury. But yeah,
I threw her off her game. She's like, what? And then she just started laughing.
Oh my
That was
goodness.
a recommendation from a close friend. Maybe you should start wearing a hard hat. We have one.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm not the only one that needs to.
Yeah, I smacked the back of my head yesterday. I was under a table trying to get a PVC piping out of the way and gunk. And I was like, ow. And I was already on my knees. I kind of like dropped even further to the ground. I was like, ow. And like he's calling out, like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, is any blood? Take my glove off, check. No, and then it's the pain starts to subside and you realize, oh, this is just a little sore, but it's just the initial shock where you think a nail's gone into the back of your head. Not so much, just a sharp bit of metal though.
As a parent, when your kids make sounds, you know what the sounds are important and all that kind of stuff, and which ones are fake or dramatized. But when you're with a wife for 20 years, the same thing happens. You know her yelps and cries and which ones are real. And we did find a little spot of blood. Yeah,
there was a teeny tiny spot of blood at later on in the afternoon, but I smacked my head too. But that happened. I was under a table. Smacked. It was no random bit of metal. It's the catch for the legs when you fold it away. I just my head there.
So the best of us can smack our head. You just be careful. Yeah. Maybe a little bit of karma there. You're mocking me a little bit.
Karma, you mocked yourself.
A little bit.
Karma.
With podcast listeners, she has given me a glare. Good morning, everybody. We got a lot more work done yesterday. We are trying to make some decisions about the heating. We got our well all wrapped up, good to go. The dog water we've kind of addressed. Our dog got away again yesterday.
This boy,
he's determined.
He is determined. We had friends come over yesterday evening, and I met them at the gate. The dogs were with me; they're my little bodyguards. But they decided to stay on the other side of the gate when the vehicle drove through. And I'm like, "Hold on, where are my dogs? Call them." And then the good one, she didn't come. I was like, something's not right. I walk up the gate, and the funny thing is, like, he wasn't far. He was on the other side of the fence. As I'm walking up the driveway, calling for them, I can hear he's to my left. He's just on the other side of the fence, though. And of course, he got to say, "Hey, Mom, I'm here." But anyway, 10-15 minutes later, the dogs were home.
So lots of lessons. It looks like he does go through the gate somehow then, because he didn't find a way back in on his own. Neither did she. They went back to the gate to come back in.
And she was just sitting there, bless her. She was just sitting there waiting for, like, could someone open this gate so I can come in, please?
Yeah. So we're charged up the collars, and we're going to try and do a radius collar for them and keep them away from both of them, away from the gate, but stay around the pig and the farm and the rest of our stuff. So that solution was sitting at the door last night too, by the way, the gate itself. So I quickly start to charge it because we don't need this headache. Somebody's coming in and then they sneak out the gate.
Yeah, I agree. We like our furry babies and want to keep them on the property. It's their home because they didn't go far, but keep them within the perimeter where they belong.
Yep. So there you go, Martin. A quick little update. A bump head. Well's ready to go. Water's all set up. Yeah. Dog water solutions coming, and now we need to install the radius for the dogs.
Yeah, I got to train them for that though. There's training involved, so that you take them up to they're not wearing the collar, but you take them there, you take them back, then you put the collar on, take them there, take them back, so they realize what that sensation is, and it teaches them. Oh, I don't go past there. So there's some time that's got to be put in from us to train them.
Just crank it to 10.
Oh,
what happens. Goes up to 10 happens. And see what happens. I would turn around pretty quick.
Yeah, I hope so. That's the plan. We want to keep them safe over winter.
And others too. We don't want them roaming around and causing havoc out there. We got enough havoc inside the property. We don't need it outside the property.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think that was it. Some planning of what we're going to do the next little bit, and looking forward to some plus temperatures on Monday. My goodness, we've got the chill going on right now. We've got some minus teens. We're meant to have like +3 or +4 on Monday again. You know you're in Alberta winter when +3 and +4 is like, hey, can't wait for that.
No, I said to you the other day when it was -7, we're like, oh, it's chilly. I'm like, you wait. In February, when it's -7, we'll have t-shirts on because we're used to it again.
Yeah.
Let's be real. It's going to be chilly, but we're ready to go. And your little solution for the underheat seems to be fine.
Yep.
So we're good there, Martin. Glad he's in the chat right now.
Yeah, I know. I see him. Good morning, y'all, too.
All right, so let's get into the news because there's a whole bunch that we haven't caught up on. And
Mhm.
yes, Mitch Sylvester is our guest today. He's going to come on and talk about the AGM, the voting of the UCP board, some great candidates out there. He's also going to talk about the court case for the APP last week. So they were in court for 3 days talking about that question that's sitting in front of the court. And there'll be some other things we can get into. But mainly it's going to be about the AGM and supporting good candidates for the board.
Yeah, that's coming up. Countdown is on. And Friday it kicks off with some meet and greets. And then Saturday's the big day.
Yeah, and I'll be there. I'll be at the media table. I plan to have our banner behind me. Because if you don't recognize me this way, there's going to be a banner there, and you can come check us out, or at least me. You won't be there.
No, I won't be there.
But you can come check me out at the AGM. I'm going to be there again as media, and trying to capture as much as I can and share as much as I can. I don't know if we're allowed to use video. We weren't last year, so I'll double check that. But I can, X all day long and Facebook all day long, so we'll do that.
Yep. No, looking forward to the feedback. Conversations we had last night with friends was very curious about what are the conversation's going to happen.
Oh, we know what the conversation is going to be. We're fully aware what the conversation is going to be. It just got more spicy yesterday, thanks to Carney and Paula Jay, actually.
Yeah.
Both throwing Danielle under the bus. So we'll get into that in a little bit too. But there's no surprises on today's show, I don't think.
Yeah, no, but I'm very curious to see what the feedback's going to be.
Cool. Let's get into the news.
Get into it.
So where we left off was Mr. Marky Mark. So he announced this would be the Mark Carney. We come up with a new name for him all the time. But he says, at the G20, Canada committed $1 billion to the Global Fund to help millions of people in their fight against HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria. However, Mr. Marky Mark, hey, Marky Mark, you forgot to mention that the Global Fund is connected to the WEF like you are, and they also have been working on COVID. Why did you leave those two important facts out? Here are the receipts. So it's very easy. Like, this is still online.
Yeah.
So the Global Fund, COVID-19, they worked on the response, the global response. If you were wondering why a lot of countries were doing the same thing, this could be why, because there was a centralized group that was kind of coordinating all of that. It's on their website. You can go check it out. It's still there. Also on the website is their executive director, and this is Peter Sands. Go ahead and check him out. Still on the website. Also on the website of the WEF is Peter Sands, where it identifies him as executive director, the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Sure. And also at the bottom, who's steward of the platform of shaping the future of health and healthcare at the World Economic Forum. He's got an official position on both the Global Fund and the WEF. Oh, look at this. Who else is at the WEF? Mark Carney himself. He's got quite the write-up, and he's part of the foundation board. This guy doesn't even hide this. He's not trying to remove himself from the website. No. He's been there for quite some time, and one of the first places to update his title as he was making his way from interim prime minister to prime minister was the WEF. They were fast, so they were proud to see him go ahead and change his titles and continue to acquire power. But those two details he left out. He left out the WEF, and he knows he's part of it. And he left out that they also work on COVID, not just HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria. Yeah. So Marky Mark, disclose. So we continue here. So this one went around. This is upsetting.
Yeah.
Jamie Booker, a man pretending to be a woman, just won the title of World's Strongest Woman at the World's Strongest Women's Competition, Arlington, Texas. Andrea Thompson, a female runner-up, she was upset. This is BS. Can we go? And then walked away. So I did post here, hey, World's Strongest Women organizers, hold the next competition in Alberta. We don't allow men in women's sports. May the best woman win. God bless. And a quick update on this, they reversed it. So they pulled the title away because they pretended like they didn't know. Like, oh, we didn't know he was a man pretending to be a woman. And as they pretend that they didn't know about that, they revoked the title. So Andrea Thompson is now the world's strongest woman. She always was. She didn't even need to stand on a podium for us to know that. But yeah, so at least they've revoked that. They're turning back the clock on that one.
Yeah, I think tides are turning overall on this.
For sure. There's like people are just they're not afraid of that mob anymore coming at them. They're shutting down those conversations and moving on. It really helped that larger organizations like the Olympics took that turn. Some of the swimming associations were taking that turn as well. US definitely took that turn, and Alberta.
Yeah, I wanted to add, so online there's a particular, I'm not sure if you cover it later, but there was a poster saying trans women are women, trans women are,
I do.
repeated.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, that is one I did cover. I think you'll see.
Yeah.
I'm trying to save that because it's a good one. The Toronto Police Association yesterday, 25th of November, in recognition of the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, we stand with our communities to acknowledge the prevalence of violence against women and girls, including intimate partner violence and sexual violence. Great. Okay, good. I, of course, had to push back. It's sexual violence to allow men and women spaces in sports and to marginalize women by saying men can be women. You should care about women every day, not just once a year.
Correct.
Full stop.
Just like every day is Valentine's Day, every day is No Violence Against Any Person Day, I would also add.
No, we'll stick with women. Some people need violence.
There you go, you see.
Yep. And no, not every day is Valentine's Day. That's my birthday.
Yeah.
Very special. My birthday is February 14th, Valentine's Day. Saint Jason. No, Saint Valentine.
Yeah, Saint.
Yeah, it was one of the first things that Paula and I had to address was how do we treat that day? Is it a birthday? Is it Valentine's Day? What do we do?
Yeah, it's your birthday.
We just made out.
Yeah, back in the day. Also,
not even back in the day, even a couple days ago.
Oh, every day.
Oh,
every day.
Well, you bumped your head. I can. Maybe you okay?
Yeah.
Karma.
Should do the news.
Chris Barber was on yesterday, so check that out. He tuned in from Big Red itself. He was stuck in a snowstorm and turned into a blizzard. I was chatting with him throughout the day. The expectation of court today is not a decision. Okay. So he reached out to his lawyer and then got back to me as he promised. And it's not a decision. It's more arguments about why they shouldn't do it. So I think the first set of arguments was the Crown, and now it might be the defense. But tomorrow is not expected to be a decision day. So he gave us a heads up on that. Okay. So we're not going to do a little special. We can't really because it's about starting now anyways. But it's not going to be. Ooh, who's that pretty lady? But it's not going to be decision day. He confirmed that with his lawyer yesterday.
Which just only means it's going to be delayed even further. Like he's still waiting. Like, my goodness.
Now, here's a life lesson. How do you get 1.5 billion people upset at you? You do a post about Jagmeet Singh, and here's my post, because he's talking about the history of some people in India, part of the Sikhs, remembering them this week. And if you know what Jagmeet Singh is about and what he's been doing, he's part of the Khalistani movement here in Canada, as we just saw last week or so, or the last few days. Over 50,000 Sikhs went to Ottawa to vote on the referendum for Khalistani state. I have no idea whose referendum that is. I guarantee you it's not official. And I 100% assure you it's going to come back with 100% support, because what is it even? It's got no power. You're just getting people together to say, hey, I want something. And I guarantee you there's no resistance to that one. Anyways, he posted, so I reposted. And I said, I highly recommend you take this fight to India and leave Canada out of it. You have done enough to ruin Canada. Pretty innocent. Pretty innocent. Let me see how many likes. Yeah. Got several more likes than he does on his post because this thing went kind of viral in India. So 4.5 thousand likes on it, 1.3 thousand comments. And most of the comments, if you go through it, are don't send them here.
Yeah.
We don't want them. Leave them in the Atlantic.
You know, that was like that. Comment, wasn't it?
No, there's many comments like that. You need to, you can go 1.3 thousand comments. I haven't read them all, but a whole bunch of them. They're all the same. Don't send him here. He's your problem now. You created him. Keep him. So when you're hated by multiple countries, maybe you should check yourself a little bit. Anyways, if you want to get yourself a lot of attention in India, just write about Jagmeet going there. And yeah, they'll be upset with you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they're so upset with me. They're just like, no, keep
No,
him.
the concept of a hidden career. No, keep him.
No, keep him. We don't want him. And so many people told me he's not allowed in India. I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'd like them to go try. They can give him some room aboard. Fully aware. All right, so here you go. Here's that comment you're talking about. So this Cassie person. Trans women are real women, repeated multiple times in the post. That's all the post is.
Yeah.
So I first want to highlight, because somebody asked me, why are you following a transsexual worker? I'm not. Cassie is not an account I follow. I don't have any idea who it is. It just popped up on my timeline. You know, this is how X works.
Yeah.
But thanks for that assumption. So gross. Yuck. But anyways, my post here is because if you look, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times repeated. Same sentence. But hey, we can take a look at this. My post is, who are the real Nazis? This strategy has a name, the big lie, a propaganda technique where a massive falsehood is repeated so relentlessly that people eventually accept it as reality. People often wonder how obvious falsehoods become accepted as truth. History gives us the answer. Quote, if you tell a big lie enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. Who said that? Often attributed to Joseph Goebbels.
What's his name? No, it's like Gables. It's not that. It's
So
not Goebbels.
Yeah. Anyways, Reich Minister of Propaganda in Nazi Germany, 1933 to 45. Repetition isn't truth. Evidence is. This is a technique. It's called the big lie. And it was used by the Nazis to convince people of falsehoods that are to make them true. You just repeat it enough. You've heard this over and over again in media and other circles where they just keep repeating it. Safe and effective, safe and effective, safe and effective. And the people start to believe it.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious that this is the techniques being used here. And they call us the Nazis.
Yeah.
They took a page out of their playbook.
Yeah. One of the comments,
so gross.
Yeah, one of the comments I liked from our friend the salty Alberta was, "My Pinto is a Bentley. My Pinto is a Bentley. My Pinto is a Bentley." Subsequently repeated that.
In fact, that's how this popped up on my timeline. Their post popped up on my timeline, and then I saw what they were talking about. Like, oh, look at that. That's Nazi propaganda, right?
Yeah,
there.
Just because you say it repeatedly doesn't make it so. I just looked out my window. Despite me saying my Pinto is a Bentley, it's still a busted ass Pinto.
And to be clear, I also don't follow Carney. Okay, like I don't follow Jagmeet either. Okay, so but that was a weird comment. Jason, why are you following a trans sex worker? I'm not. How do you know that, by the way?
Yeah.
Maybe you're paying close attention. But no, I'm not. And even if I did, who cares? It doesn't mean anything. But yeah, that's a Nazi technique called the big lie. Look into it. Propaganda tool. So Melanie Joly. So she's eyeing the Paris ambassadorship as Carney plans a major cabinet overhaul. Maybe he's looking for some people that are more discreet and tactful. He's not. Yeah, but remember, he prefers that. People that just, listen to him and doesn't even argue with him. Anyways, I'm not surprised that she's going there. Rumor is she likes to drink a little bit. So we're a lot of wine for her to get into. But my comment here was, with Chrystia Freeland sent to Ukraine and now Melanie Joly possibly heading to France, Canada is quickly becoming the world leader in exporting washed-up liberals. This is a trend I can get behind. Keep it going.
Yeah,
keep it going. I know some NDPers that should go too. Current and former. Start clearing out our borders. Yeah, we can get behind the mass deportation of liberal radical mindsets, right?
Yeah, hey, they don't want to be here anyway for a lot of them. So
let's find some place where you fit in.
Yep.
We can get behind that one. Even somebody I think posted on here, they'll set up a Give Send Go to pay for it. Get rid of her. Or maybe that was Jagmeet. There's so much going on. Jagmeet. He can go. So this Sadie person, I have no idea who this is. What's again? Somebody I don't follow, but it popped up. Is anyone at all seeing an issue with this? And the Time headline here is Americans own 46% of the world's 1 billion guns, says a UN report. So the post is, anybody see a problem with this? And mine was nope.
Yep.
I would think only the enemies of the American people would have an issue with this. Like the only people that would actually mind are the ones that are their enemies and don't like the fact that they're armed. Nope, I don't see a problem with this. The only problem I actually do see is, I don't know if that's enough. 46, that'd be like one gun of 1 billion. That's at 460 million. That's about one per American. Maybe they should double up.
I'm sure
go buy another one.
Yeah.
Go buy another one and don't let them disarm you. But no, I have no problem with this. Gun ownership is fine. Responsible gun ownership is great, and they should go ahead and do that. I'd like to see Canada increase its ownership.
We have a comment here in locals. There has to be more than 1 billion guns. I think there's got to be more than that.
Well, it's the UN, so I don't know how accurate things are.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do they call in a gun? Did they remove other types of stuff like the armies? Like, are they not included? Possibly. These are just civilian owned, registered. I don't know. But that's the headline from Time.
And what type of gun? The pew pew? Or
yeah, that's a little thing going around. Ask a woman to make a machine gun sound, and they sound like.
Well,
now
pew 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 pew.
And you ask a boy or a man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we know what it sounds like. It was hilarious. We went around yesterday. We had 2 female friends over, and I asked the first one, and she did kind of that.
Yeah, because we typically we don't make those. Growing up when we play, we don't make those sounds.
So this is how you do women's sports when people are registering.
There you go.
Can you make a machine gun sound? And depending on how they do, they're in or out. And also, there's a nice trick for guys where they're dating and you're not sure. Ask the person to do a machine gun sound. If they can do it, run.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Or at least you're fully informed to make a decision.
Fully informed.
Yeah.
So here's the big news from yesterday, though. Okay. And look, I'm not pleased. I'm gonna play this video for you all. So this was in response to Polyev asking Carney when, because there's an MOU now that's floating around with Danielle Smith and Carney to do pipelines west through BC. It's an MOU. It's not a commitment by the government. It's not part of the major projects list. It's quite literally a non-binding document. An MOU is a memorandum of understanding. They're not binding in court. You can't take it to court and say, hey, look, we agreed on this. It's not an agreement. It's not a contract. It's an understanding, and it's a memorandum, meaning you intend to eventually possibly get to an agreement. It's not even like a prenup.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, can I see you next Friday? And you're like, yeah, sure. Well, there you go. We're not married.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, we'll see you again next Friday and we'll see where this goes. It's a memorandum of understanding. And Polyev threw Danielle Smith under the bus on this one by kind of poking fun at it and then asking, when is it going to be in effect? When's the construction date start? And here's Carney's response from yesterday.
The memorandum of understanding that we're negotiating with Alberta creates necessary conditions, but not sufficient conditions, because we believe in cooperative federalism. We believe the government of British Columbia has to agree. We believe that First Nations right holders in this country have to agree and support. All stakeholders have to back. That's one Canada.
So you were warned. I was going to play a video. So if your blood curdled there, apologies, but you were warned. But yeah, so my post is Alberta in 25 seconds, MOU mark, just took the wind out of Danielle Smith's sails. With 6 days to go, it looks like Premier Smith's deadline will come and go without a deal. By having necessary conditions, including BC Premier Abby's First Nation stakeholders agreement and cooperation on Pipeline West, this is a no-go. It's time to fire up the or else train. Listen, it's been very clear that BC is saying no. Full stop. And the government has the power to go ahead and do that. The federal government has the power to go ahead and put it in if they wanted to.
That's right.
Just like Danielle Smith putting a referendum in place for the pension plan. You didn't have to do that. The government, the federal government could put the pipeline in without any agreement by anybody. That's the power they do have. They're not using it. They're leaving the veto, as some people put it, with BC. And they've already made it very clear what they're doing. So the fact that we're just kind of going through the, what's it called? A horse and pony show? What's it called? The dog and pony show? Something along those lines. We're just going through the process. Now, here's what I think happened, because he's supposed to come to Calgary on Thursday. And they were supposed to kind of play this up as an agreement. The media from the Liberals are coming out going, hey, look, they struck a deal. No, they didn't. This is not even a binding agreement in any way, shape, or form. This is, hey, if you can go get all of these people to agree and you can get all the money and you can do all of this stuff on your own, then we will look at it. But they also have to revoke and repeal a bunch of laws that are standing in the way. So this is not a win. This is a delay. So what I think Danielle was hoping for was he would come to you here Thursday say, hey, look, we are striking a deal here, and then take that to the AGM on Friday, and then stand there on Saturday saying, look how close we are, when he just kneecapped her.
Wah, wah.
Just kneecapped her and said,
Yep.
no, look,
Nope.
no.
Yeah, no,
So
exactly.
I'm sure she's a little bit disappointed because she was trying to have a little bit more strength at the AGM, but
and
no.
breathing room.
But Pierre initiated it, and Carney, Pierre lured her in to the ice rink, and Carney took a bat to the knee.
Yep.
And Kerrigan her. Nancy Kerrigan. So they went to her, and she's definitely going to be walking to the AGM with everybody knowing this now, that BC is standing in your way, literally, and there's no chance that they're going to say yes. There's a lot of people trying to work this, like, some of the path will be through unceded, ceded First Nations land, and we don't really need, like, go ahead, try and spin this. But if you can give me a future where you think the BC is going to support this under NDP leadership, you're wacky, tobacco smokers.
Yeah. I want to read some of the comments here. So, so Galen G, what happened to her deadline to remove the 9 bad laws? She gave she gave ultimatum. Let's not forget. I haven't forgotten. I've been quiet about it, but it's been brewing in me.
Yeah, well, this is a 3 strikes thing. So she did that, and some of those would have to be repealed for this to even work.
Yeah. Okay.
So the tanker ban on the West Coast would have to be lifted. The pipeline ban has to be lifted. There's a few things that would have to be lifted. The carbon stuff. I don't see that happening because that's not even part of this right now. But she did give that deadline to Mitch Sylvester, who just popped into our studio on stage in Bonnieville. Said, look, these are the 9 things we need to have removed. You got 6 months.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. And then it was by the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
We want to be on the majors project list with 1 pipeline. That didn't happen. And then it was end of November, which would be after the AGM.
Yeah, convenient.
We want to strike a deal with this MOU because she talked about it on my interview. Well, he just kneecapped her.
Yeah. And then, yes, a question here, legitimate. Did Danielle Smith mean Grey Cup 2026?
You guys are cute. Nope. She said November 16th on my interview. She wanted to make sure the interview got out before then because she really thought she would get something. I hope at this stage she understands who she's dealing with. This MOU is non-binding. It's not going to happen. It's not going to do anything. And quite frankly, this is yet another piece of the fuel to independence, because people are like, all right, 3 strikes, man.
Yeah.
Like 3 times you tried to do something prosperous for us, and you didn't get it out of Ottawa. You don't necessarily have to blame her for it, but you definitely have to realize and wake up. You got to stop trying. This guy's an abusive husband. Time to dump him. We got a couple more minutes before we bring in this handsome young man onto the stage, and there's a couple posts there. So Carney, like, listen, I'm not a fan of his work at all. Okay, I don't think he's done anything prosperous for Canada, certainly not Alberta. But I do want to highlight some things here because this just came out this morning. Liberals before the election. Mark Carney is the only one who will stand up to Trump. Reality since the election. Carney dropped the counter tariffs. There's a CBC link for you. Carney apologizes to Doug Ford for Doug Ford attacks on Trump. There's a link for it. And Carney apologized for the "who cares" comment. And there's a link for it. So there you go. Yeah. When liberals said stand up, they meant take a knee to Trump. Look, I think Trump is doing a good job for America. He's fighting hard for America. But this guy ran on standing up to Trump, and he hasn't.
Has not.
Okay. He's taken lots of knees, including the flippant "who cares" comment. He's now rolled it back. Of course he has, because he needs to go work with the U.S. He went to Europe and did not get the welcome that he thought he was going to get. He thought they were going to usher him in as a new king, and they didn't. So the very next thing that came out was, oh, he has to go talk to Trump. And now he has to roll back his "who cares" comment. Like, this guy is weak sauce. He makes Pierre look somewhat strong. Well, look. Sorry, what? You got to be really weak to do that. And the last comment here, and then we jump into our guest. Alberta independence reason number 1792. And I think our guests would probably agree with this one. An independent Alberta wouldn't need Ottawa's permission to build pipelines, and we wouldn't be trapped behind British Columbia's political blockade. Right now, every major project must survive federal legislation like Bills C-48 and C-69, Ottawa's regulatory delays, and BC's refusal to allow Alberta Energy to reach the coast. That bottleneck costs Alberta's billions in lost revenue every year. But Alberta has another option, Washington State. Independent Alberta can negotiate directly with the United States and build energy corridors south to the Pacific, bypassing Ottawa and bypassing BC entirely.
Yeah.
American ports like Cherry Point and, Anacortes.
Yeah, Anacortes.
Cool. Already have the infrastructure, capacity, and demand for Alberta's energy. Ottawa says no, BC says no, but Alberta doesn't need their permission, only the freedom to choose our own path. In a strong and free Alberta, we would unlock full market access, secure world pricing, and finally build the energy future Ottawa has spent decades blocking. So look, there's a lot of ways you can go around BC. Some people, when they drive to Ontario, they go through the States. Like, it's cheaper, it's faster, the highways, that kind of stuff. You don't necessarily have to use the UN articles to get to Tidewaters.
Yeah.
We can just go straight through Washington. There's a port there already, a couple ports that are ready to go. So we can bypass all of that if we need to. It might cost a little bit more, take a little bit more time, but it'll be secured and ready to go. So on that note, let's go ahead and bring in the man of the half hour, Mr. Mitch Sylvester. Good morning, Mitch. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How are you? Good to see you again. Hasn't been that long.
It's been a few weeks, but we're coming to that AGM, and that's very important in Alberta politics. The next stage to the UCP party is going to be set in the Saturday. We're going to have some voting for that board. We're going to see who gets on there and start setting a course for the next couple of years with the UCP party. So you're pretty tuned into that. You're paying attention to that one.
Well, I pay attention to the AGM, and this is the fourth one that I have anything to do with. So we've paid attention to the three previous ones as well. I don't think we've changed our tack. I think what we're seeing is more pushback from the other side. So, and that's perfectly fine. That's what we're doing. That's what they were doing originally. Now, remember, when the Wild Rose and the Progressives became, the UCP, at that point, Jason Kenney bussed in like 3 or 4 school buses full of people so that he could put his people on the board of the AGM. So that started right there. So this has been a battle, an internal battle, from the start. And I think the Wild Rose and the progressive conservative part of the UCP are both still viable groups. And as a consequence to that, they have different views on some things. But, moving forward, that doesn't mean that we're going to split the party at an election. That means that we're battling for position within the party right now.
Now, you're the CA president of Bonnyville, Cold Lake, and what?
St. Paul.
Yeah, and how long have you been in that role? Because you provided quite the showing from Bonnyville, your CA, in the last AGM as well.
Yeah, I've been there 3 years. I think this is going to be year 4.
Okay, cool. And I just saw a message from you. I didn't get it. You can do it from your phone. Yes.
Yeah, I am doing it from my phone now.
Yeah, no, I just get it. Sorry, we're live at 7, and I didn't see that until just now.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Yeah, no, fine. So now at this AGM, there's no leadership review like last year, but this one has the board elections. So we're going to be seeing possibly some new faces on that board. What are your thoughts around that?
Well, every year there's 9 board positions that come up for election, right? So there's 18 positions on the board, and every year there's 9 board positions that come up. So, like I said, this is the 4th time that I'm involved with a board election. And what do I think of it? I think there's lots of really good people running. I think that there's people, that will represent everybody's views on both sides of the ledger. I think it's going to be interesting. I think because of what's happening outside of the party, meaning the independence, movement is growing. It's becoming a much bigger deal. I think it's gaining a lot of momentum, and Carney's helping. So if they continue to go down this path the way they're going, it's almost like, to me, that their federal government is actually doing it on purpose to do as much bad for Alberta as they could possibly do to accelerate this movement. As silly as that sounds, I just couldn't imagine them doing any more. And so that brings this AGM into into the limelight based on the fact that, independence people on the UCP board is going to be an issue moving forward, based on the fact that we're going to have to make some pretty big decisions here, based on, what's happening and for Alberta for the next, 50, 80, 100 years, because I really, really believe with all my heart that we're not going to get another chance to do this. So Albertans are going to have to decide, are we going to continue down the path we're on? Or are we going to take the opportunity to build something, as far as I'm concerned, personally concerned, would be something really big, something really exciting, and something very, very prosperous, rich nation here in Alberta.
Yeah, no, the it's a perfect storm, right? So with the Republican presidency down south that would recognize an independent Alberta, with Ottawa pushing hard on Alberta prosperity and trying to continue to have that decline for us, it definitely seems like it might be intentional. I'm just going to throw it out there. This is my tinfoil hat there, Mitch. I've been talking about this for 2 years. Carney's goal is to bankrupt Canada. So one of the ways is to get one of the largest revenue generating provinces out. Might be part of his plan to bankrupt Canada. That's just speculation. Of course, CBC won't report on that one. But if you wanted to force Alberta out and leave us with no choice, he's checking all the boxes off. Like, he really is checking all the boxes off. Like, doing a pipeline can take years and years. So throw it on the list if you really want to try and keep us around. But he's checking the boxes off.
Well, I've been in business for 47 years. I'm going to tell you what I do know. And, you're talking about bankrupting the country. So let's just pretend that we're talking about a business that it's not making money, that's running at a deficit every year. So you would continue to borrow every year to cover your deficit because you're not earning the revenue. And then while you're doing that, you would do your very best to kill the actual thing that brings money and revenue into the business. How does that work? How do you continue to borrow money and make payments if you lose your revenue stream? And that is exactly what they're doing. And it's a very simple explanation, but it is exactly what they're doing. They're killing the revenue and borrowing more money and adding costs. How does that work? Well, it only ends up one place. You're absolutely right. You don't even this is not tin hat stuff. All you have to do is sit there and take 10 minutes and look at the numbers. He's going to borrow $321 billion in the next 5 years. We'll be paying $329 billion a year in interest. And we're going to kill the engine that earns the money so that we can actually make those payments. At what point don't people understand that if that is actually the case, what's going to happen to social programs and everything else? And universal basic income is in the Senate. Another $98 billion a year cost. How's that all work? So they're shutting industry down that's going to hire people, and then they're going to pay people $2,000 a month not to work. I don't know. It just seems to me that it's pretty simple math.
Well, there's a few things to kind of look in history about Greece. So what happened with Greece is they got into debt, bailout with the International Monetary Fund. And when they defaulted on that loan, International Monetary Fund came in with some austerity measures. And the first thing, Mitch, they cut was social programs. And they ended up with the highest unemployment ever. And they had to kind of struggle their way through as they were trying to make good on the loan and the austerity measures. I think that was a test to see what would happen. Like, would people resist? Would they stop it? They didn't. They just sat down, took the hits, and then paid it back by gaining access to resources and taxation. And they basically took over the country. I think that's the same thing that they want to have happen here. Remember, in mergers and acquisitions and in the business world, you go and buy a brand, but you buy it with debt. And then you load that debt onto the company. And then when they can't service the debt, you sell off all the assets and break it up. This is a technique that's been around since like the 80s. And I think Mark and his globalist buddies, his banker buddies, understand that. And this is what they're trying to do, I think, with Canada. They want to sell off all our natural resources in our future, and they want to bring it to Europe. I think this is their target here. This is what it looks like to me. What are your thoughts around that?
Well, would you blame them for trying to do that and getting away with it? I mean, this is
I don't blame a bank robber for trying to get money either.
Well, but our problem is that our people are not understanding, what's actually happening. And in reference to what Carney's doing, he's done this before in other places in the world. This isn't his first go. He's gone around the world and done this on behalf of, the World Economic Forum or Brookfield or whoever these people are in other countries. So the thing is that they have a plan, absolutely have a plan, and from what I can see, without being in the boardroom, from what I can see from the outside looking in, that's exactly what they're doing. And anybody that wants to take 5 minutes to have a look at it would possibly agree with that.
And let's take a quick moment to thank our
Mhm.
American friends south of the border for voting in Trump, because if this was a Harris
Oh my
presidency,
goodness.
I think the globe would have been fast-tracked on craziness, because Harris would have absolutely worked with the globalists and continued, whereas Trump is standing up against them.
hmm
Well, the problem with all of this stuff is there's so many more people now understanding that there's, I mean, for me, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it was very clear to me that something was very off. And now I'm seeing every day that something is very off. But what I'm seeing now is it's everyday conversation.
Mhm.
Before it was, taboo to talk about what was going on during COVID and all that nonsense that was happening. Then you couldn't have conversation. Now this is everyday conversation. Now we have regular people walking up to me because people know what I'm doing and having conversation with me and saying, you know what, I never thought about this as little as 6 or 8 months ago, but now I'm really concerned. I'm really starting to see what's happening, and I think that I think everybody out there should be aware that there's a large group of Albertans that are seeing this. It's not going to be, them accomplishing their goals here is not going to be a slam dunk no matter what happens here. Albertans are, I don't believe Albertans are going to allow this to happen. Honestly, I don't believe they will.
Yeah, and speaking of growing, like I have not met a single person yet that said, you know what, I was for separation, but I've changed my mind.
Yeah.
It's going the other way. Like there's so many people
Yeah.
that come up and said, you know what, I was on the fence or I was against. And in the APP, you call them yellows and reds. They're switching. They're switching. And I got a report from somebody who watches this show that went to an APP event many months ago, and then they came back recently. It was 3 times the audience. So the audiences are growing at these town halls as well. Are you seeing that all over Alberta, or was just weird here in Stony Plain, Spruce Grove?
Well, let me tell you a cute little story from this weekend. I had a lady that called me 2 weeks ago to do a Zoom in call to so people could ask questions at a meeting at her house that she was going to have for 20 people. And so I agreed to do that. It was Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. And then she calls me, a few days before the event, and she says, Mitch, I've got like 120 people that want to come to this meeting, and would you come in person? So I said, yeah. So I got in my truck and I drove down there, and sure enough, they were all there. And this is the thing, that there was a meeting in Camrose just a little while before that, but a lot of these people didn't want to be seen in a room at an independence movement event somehow, and they wanted a private event in their. Basically, this was a big shop in the host yard, and they wanted to go there, and they were all 100% in support of this. They just wanted to hear the facts, and after they heard the facts, they were more in support of it. So am I seeing it everywhere? I would suggest that for a house meeting to go from 20 people to 120 people in about 8 days, and in a very, very small community, tells you all you need to know.
I would agree, and we're seeing this everywhere. Okay, and yeah, the people around here know that I'm talking to people like you and hosting conversations like this, and a lot of them are coming up to me going, "Okay, so why haven't we done this yet? Where are we at?" And asking questions just over coffee. And one of the things that comes up a lot is Danielle Smith and trying to work with Carney. Now, you asked her the question in Bonnyville, so perfect person to have on. So what are you going to do with this guy? And she said, here are the 9 things that I want. He's got 6 months, and that has come and gone. Then she also said, at the Grey Cup, I'm looking to be on the major projects list. That didn't happen. And then she said, wait till the end of the month. We're going to have an announcement around the MOU. He kind of let the cat out of the bag yesterday by saying BC is going to have veto power. You're going to have to still get all these agreements in place. This is basically, this is not even a nothing burger. It's less than a nothing burger. There's like no wrapper here. So I'm curious on what you think about the events of yesterday in the Parliament with Carney kind of letting that cat out of the bag a little bit early on, Danielle.
Well, he did it on purpose, right? He knows the AGM's this weekend. Yeah, I mean he's doing every single thing he can do to squash her momentum. Like there's absolutely like you couldn't plan it out any better. And here's the funny thing, like for me, looking at it from if I was if I had the opportunity to lead a big group like this, and there was somebody that was actually contributing most of our finances, wouldn't you want to work with those people so that they could get better and bigger and everything could work? Like it just makes no sense to me. And the premier is trying to do one of two things. She's either going to say at some point, and the point is here now, that look, we can't work with these people, so we have to support doing our own thing here. However that looks in her mind, I know how it looks in my mind, but however that looks in her mind is something that's going to happen. I mean, she's going to have to at some point come out in public, and maybe that's going to be Saturday. That you know what, we've tried everything we can, and we're done with these people. They obviously don't want to work with us. They obviously have another agenda, and so Alberta's going to have to chart its own path. And you know what, we're absolutely ready to do that.
And with
Yeah.
Polyev himself teed it up for Carney to say this in the Parliament, like he could have just waited until Thursday's announcement because that was scheduled. Carney's coming to Calgary to announce this thing with Danielle, but Polyev teed it up, so he's a Federalist, and Carney knocked it out of the park. So I think you're right. At this stage, Danielle has the opportunity Saturday to basically said, I tried everything. This relationship isn't salvageable, and we need to consider the or else now. And she could just drop that right there and leave it right there, and everybody would understand what she's talking about.
Well,
do you think you might do that?
I hope she's doing it. I think she's got a perfect storm going here in her favor. Thomas Lukaszuk went out there and got 450,000 signatures on a Forever Canada petition. She's going to have the opportunity to say, well, let's let the Alberta Prosperity Project go out there and collect their signatures, and let's have a face-off. I mean, basically, we'd be prepared to accept that, and accept the will of the people. And she can basically stand on the fence and referee. It's not going. She doesn't have to take a stand on this until after the vote.
And another thing I just want to kind of clarify: Lusakic's petition, 450,000. Those aren't necessarily supporting his petition in the affirmative. Those could be people that want the petition to reach a referendum so they can vote their way too. Like you could have signed his petition to say, yeah, I want the referendum. I'm not voting for you, Thomas, but I want the referendum to happen. So some of those could actually already be supporters of independence. So now that we've got this kind of teed up for the weekend for her, let's see what happens. So we're going to see on Saturday whether or not she does it. And I do hope that the people are loud and they kind of ask her to go ahead and give some sort of response. Because if she goes through this AGM similar to last year, where it was about the Bill of Rights, and we were not pleased at the end of that one, this may not be a good thing for her politically. What are your thoughts there?
Well, my thoughts is that it's been a long year. She's not going to get the reception she got last year for sure. Her approval rating is not 92% today. I mean, there's absolutely no question about that. Danielle Smith is in a position right now where she's going to have to reevaluate her position amongst her own people. I think that she's lost enough credibility here in the last little while, and there's a large group of people that are hanging on to the fact that she's going to come around and do what our people hope that she's going to do, because our people are basically literally the people that put Danielle in power, and they're feeling a little bit slighted right now based on on the movement, the three deadlines, and based on the fact that all of us are hardcore Albertans looking for what's best for Alberta. And basically on April 28th, the Federalist boat has sailed out of the port. So you know what, I think, and that's absolutely true with me. On April 27th, I had hope that there could be something, for an Alberta within Canada. But I think on April 28th, after the federal election, that we absolutely have lost hope in that ever working. and I'm not by myself there. So as a consequence to all of that, I really believe that the premier's position has changed, and the people that are still on the bandwagon are holding out hope that she's absolutely going to say, well, you know what, we've done everything we can do. And let's be clear, even a pipeline at this point is not even close to enough. There's a lot of other issues going on there that people want resolved. Like out of her 9 things, most of them are oil and gas related, and that's fine. But there's firearms stuff. There's all manner of other social stuff going on that we don't approve of. This carbon capture nonsense that they're going to try and shove down our throats based on one of the conditions of this memorandum of understanding is total nonsense. It's going to cost us $50 billion, the numbers I'm hearing. It's going to cost Alberta taxpayers $50 billion for a $20 billion pipeline. So just understanding they're going to, and the other thing I'm hearing, and I don't know if this is true, we're going to verify that, I guess today, or tomorrow, I guess the thing that they want to do also is by increasing the carbon tax and decarbonizing oil and carbon sequestration. So how do you do that? And the other thing we're not understanding is why would we have to do that? They call it buying social license in order to produce oil. Well, I think that ship sailed as well. I think people are understanding that we're the cleanest oil patch in the world, and that all of this nonsense, all the biggest emitters don't pay carbon tax, just us, and we're the second largest carbon taxpayer in the world. Nonsense, total nonsense. Even if it does exist, everybody's got to participate. When everybody takes it seriously, then we should. At that point, we've been ahead of the game for a while. We should just fall off on that nonsense until everybody else in the world gets on board with it. If they really want to save the world, they should be able to participate in that exercise. And we only 1.5% emitters. I think we can stand back and watch and do our best in the meantime, but not break our economy based on the fact that that's the excuse that they're using for it to happen.
And there's some more other indicators that's causing people to lose hope that we're holding on strong. And that is that Poilievre's government, or not government, his party seems to be in trouble, crossing the floor, resigning, not standing up in order enforcing an election when they had the opportunity to, and really seems a little bit weak. There's a leadership review coming up. And if you look at the polls, even the Conservative Party seems to be dropping. So if there was an election now, they probably wouldn't do so well at all either. That's also not helping people who are trying to hold on to support and hope that we can stay together as a country.
Well, Jason, they don't stand on anything. They have no principles. Like that budget should, no matter what, they should have shut that budget down, say, we don't agree with this. We know it's wrong. And no matter what, we're not supporting it. That's it. That's the end of the conversation. We're going to have another election because we can't support this. And then they would have had 3 months or 4 months to educate the people as to what's actually going on. But no. So what do? Nothing. That's the whole problem here with all of these people. They're not ground on any kind of principles at all. They don't stand for anything. How the hell can we expect our people to make informed decisions on what's out there when the very people that we hope are going to represent us don't have the courage to stand on anything? Because what? We're behind in the polls? Well, Carney was 20 some points behind in the polls when he started, and he won. So we're not concerned about whether we're ready for an election or not. We're concerned about the fact that we have to have an election because what's happening is literally criminal. And if they're not standing against it, then they're allowing it. I don't, Shannon Stubbs, my MP, was in the hospital and didn't vote. I mean, this is a pretty big vote. I mean, to have elective surgery, just saying.
And there was
could have waited or proxied her vote or made arrangements for her vote before she went into surgery and said, look, I'm going to be, all puffy and you won't be able to recognize me. But I'm going to vote no on this and make everybody aware of her situation so that she could vote because there was a mechanism available for that. But these people are absolutely got no principles. And if they can't stand on moral ground or any moral ground at all, or what kind of faith should we have in the system? Period. because we know we're watching the Liberals steal billions of dollars from Canadians with no audit. We're watching that happen in lifetime, and our people are not saying anything. The opposition is not trying to put them in jail over it. All of that kind of, the press is compromised. So at what point do we have to start the system over again? Because the stealing, the ability, what they're doing with budgets, the attack on our industry, Danielle, quote, they're sabotaging our biggest industry, from our leader. We're not making that stuff up. That's clearly what it is. And so as a consequence to that, one of these people are going to say, well, you know what? You can't sabotage Alberta's industry because it provides 35% of the money that it takes to run Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And at what point does that come into play? And
Well,
all the jobs and all the people that they're putting out of work by their policies. And that's all wrapped up in one ball. So Pierre, if he wanted to be leader, should have said, no, we're not doing this. We're going to go to another election because, you know what, we were really damn close last time. And I think with what's going on, we can push it over the top. I would have had a lot more respect for him had he done that than what they did.
Yeah, and I think there was a perfect storm for his election too, because Carney has failed on Trump. Carney has actually put us into some more deficit spending. Like, there was a whole bunch of more new topics that they could have brought up in a campaign. That's true. Yeah. Everybody watched it. Elbows went down, knees went down quickly. They could have probably pushed a victory.
There were many talking points that Pierre could have stood on that he just simply didn't.
But you gotta have the will and the courage to do it. You've got to have the will and the courage to stand up to what's going on. I mean, the whole thing with these people is that they're pretending to care, and that's what's going on here. I mean, at what point are we going to stand up? Is our premier going to say, "Well, you know what? I totally understand what's going on here, and no, we're not going to have anything to do with it." And honestly, the kind of shove that the premier could give us would absolutely assure us a victory, as far as I'm concerned.
Now, one of the things she could do very quickly to really signal without saying, yeah, I support separation, but what she could do is remove and revoke Section 2.4 of the Citizens Initiative Act, which is what you're fighting in court right now, is Section 2.4 that was put in there by Danielle and Mickey Amory. She could repeal that immediately and get that done and take that off the table. That removes the whole court battle. That removes the whole question of whether or not Alberta's standing in its own way. That's something Bruce Party brought up. And take that off the table. She doesn't even have to say, I'm voting yes. Exactly. She can just open that door a little bit more. If she did that on Saturday, what would the base say to that?
Well, you know what? Honestly, Jason, I don't think she has to remove it based on Jeff's closing arguments on Friday.
That's what I was going to get to next. How did you do last week?
They're basically breaking the law if they don't allow us to do our question, because it says in the Constitution that calling a question doesn't infringe anybody's rights. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but you'd have to go to Jeff's explanation to see. He did a wonderful job there. And so this is what's going to happen. There are a rule, break the Constitution and break the law. So we are for sure not going to stand there and take that nonsense, because if they're breaking Canadian law, as inconvenient as it is for their plans right now, our people are going to react, and I will promise you that. We are not going to stand and sit on our hands and say, oh, well, that's okay, and we're going to move forward on this, and we're going to find another path. The path is clear. They instituted the path. They also put the provision in there, so 2.4, so that they could fight this. Apparently, that wasn't planned out right to the very end. They didn't get it to the point where they understood what we now understand, that they're ploy to make it against Aboriginal rights, which is the last thing we want to do, by the way, is take rights away from anybody in this province. We're totally the opposite. We're going to give Aboriginals more, given the opportunity to, than they had before, if they choose to want that. But the whole thing is that what this whole thing is fighting on is basically stop, delay, do what they're doing in Ottawa right now. Let's talk about it for another 6-8 months, because they may have a little more momentum than what we expect them to have. And as a consequence to that, no. When they come out with the ruling in December, we're going to react one way or the other. We'll be very happy or not very happy if the ruling goes against us, based on what I saw in court for 3 days.
Okay, so, well, here's the thing. It's a low-hanging fruit politically for her then. If she does see that the court's going to side with you, let's just say that's in her mind, she could just pull it off and end that whole matter altogether. Yeah. You start your signatures, and we're in a spring-summer referendum. Or she can even just flip Lusakic's into a constitutional one, put the question out herself. She may have to revoke a piece of the Referendum Act, because the government has the same clause on theirs as well. Revoke that and just put the question forward and run on that. If she did that, do you think the base would, cut her a little more slack? The same group that's kind of frustrated with her.
100%. 100%. I think the problem with the premier right now is they're waiting for her to do something. I mean, she's still very well perceived out there by most people that I talk to. I mean, there's a lot of people that have time for her that are going to give her slack. I mean, that's at some point now. She's burned a lot of political capital now. And she's going to have to do something at some point, or she is going to lose it all. She's going to lose all her political capital. So I'm hoping against hope that she does certain things. I mean, she's got lots of fires to put out here right now, based on some of the nonsense that's going on with the recalls and all the rest of that nonsense. But if she's going to go there and change the legislation, there's 2 or 3 things that she could do to restore order there, and this is one of them.
Excellent. So can you,
I was going to say, there's a comment here I want to share, which I think speaks to a lot of Albertans. Dangling the carrot is not enough. People won't change. People want change in major ways. No more waiting. We need to see something, and especially I think we need to see it from Danielle.
Yeah, and he's not even dangling a carrot. He's dangling a faux carrot, like a oil-based plastic carrot in our face, and saying, "Look, guys, we're not going to be able to work with you on this." Mitch, can you hold on, because we're going to say goodbye to the public, but we want to go to a couple more questions with our locals community.
Sure.
They're on fire right now, so if you want to just hang out, I'll take another few minutes of your time, because there's a couple more places we can go with this.
Yep.
Okay, you bet.
Yeah, hang up for a sec. We'll be right back with you. All right, there you go, public. Share this out, because it's happening very quickly. Okay, so and make sure you subscribe and like and do all those fun things that help the show get out there. And you can also become a member, which helps keep our lights on and all that kind of stuff. We don't beg for a lot, but if you want to become a member, you will get an extended episode, and we're going to go have a private chat with Mitch right now. But the perfect storm is here, and Thursday, I have no idea what that press conference is going to be about now, because Carney absolutely just let the cat out of the bag. BC has all the power. There's no way it's going to happen. They've been very clear, and it's an MOU. It's non-binding. An MOU means here are the things that if it all comes together, we'll sit down and have another conversation. That's all an MOU means. So we're way, way, way away from having any opportunity here. And I think they're trying to push this. They're trying to push this to a provincial election, 2027 maybe. Maybe they're hoping. Maybe Liberals are going to help the NDP trying to get power here. Maybe they want to see Trump out of office. They're trying to delay things. So I think the stage is set. Danielle needs to take, I think, bold steps, and we'll see Saturday. If she does that, we'll pay attention to tomorrow's press conference, and then we'll see what she does on Saturday. But she has a couple cards to play politically that can absolutely propel her support.
I completely agree. And there was a comment earlier that says just dragging their heels. Just drag everything.
I still want to give her credit that she is doing everything she can in show Alberta that she tried everything. I really hope that this is at the end. It's like, I tried everything. I literally tried everything. I even tried an MOU. You know what happened with that MOU in the convoy? People hated that, but she tried everything. And now she says, okay, well, we have to chart our own path forward. The or else is here. If she said that.
She hasn't even said or else yet, people.
She did, but she didn't say what the or else is. So
I'll save my comments for locals.
We'll talk to you on Monday on that one. Okay, everybody, have yourself a great day. Take care of yourself and each other.
Yes, I push a button first.
You got to push your button? Yeah.
Yes, but everyone, thanks for being here. Thanks for being in the chat. It's really got a bit spicy in some points, but yes, see you all tomorrow morning. Bye from me.
I love you all very, very much. God bless.